Okay, multi-award winner, singer, songwriter, record producer, actress, author, social media sensation, but most of all, the biggest job of all, a mother. I have with me Miss Sara Evans. Welcome.
Thank you.
I
How are
appreciate it.
you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you giving me some time to talk to you today. I wanted to kind of hit some highlights from your career. Now, one of the things I've noticed, because you're going to be coming into Milligan, and Wade Hayes is going to be opening up for you at this year's Milligan June Jubilee. You guys do have a connection. You guys both have learned the mandolin. Am I right?
Wait, what? Did I learn the mandolin? How do you, who told you that?
I try to do a little research, you know.
Well, okay. I think it's opposite in terms of time. I used to play the mandolin when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
And then I don't play anymore. Although I bet I could pick it up really easily. You know what my favorite instrument to play is?
What's that?
Drums. I'm a drummer.
No kidding. Wow, that's cool.
All these years, I have tried to get my tour manager, my brother, who was my band leader and my bass player, to get me a drum kit and let me play drums on stage. And no one has ever done it. So I'm worried that I'm not as good as I think I am.
Well, you know, one of those things I've learned, and I got a friend of mine who has electric drum set, because he loves the drums so much, but he didn't want to raise a ruckus. So if you hear him in the distance, it looks like it sounds like little taps, little hums in the distance, but there's no interruptions. And he's in there just wailing, you know, beating the beat heck on it. Love it to death. But yeah, no.
Well, we wouldn't know what to do in this house if there wasn't like constant noise, because Avery, my son, who's now 22, which is shocking, but
grow fast, mama.
he started playing guitar when he was 14, and literally all we heard 24/7 was a super loud electric guitar upstairs in the music room. And he also plays drums. And so, and that continues to this day because we have a studio in our house. And so he comes over every day to work in the studio. And for some reason, he can't, use headphones and play the guitar. He has to play it through his guitar amps, which overtakes any TV show we might be watching. And so then my daughters are always texting him and telling him to shut up and turn the guitar down. So it's constant in our house.
Well, and I've noticed too, you speak about it a lot, because music's strong in your guys' family life, and of course professional lives as well, with Olivia going out and branching off, and your son and whatnot. You had a strong history when you first started back in the farm in Missouri there. How did you kind of get music found in your path in life?
When I was 4 years old, my two older brothers, I come from a family of 7.
That's a big family.
My two older brothers started taking guitar lessons. And so when they would practice their music that they were learning, I would start singing along with them. And my parents, I can just, picture them. They sort of did like a double take, like, whoa, Sara is, like an amazing singer, and the boys are amazing musicians. And so, being farmers, we're also entrepreneurs. And so my mom went out and found musicians. She bought all this musical equipment and started booking us. And by the time I was 6 years old, I was singing in bars, watching drunk people two-step. And, it was just weird, but I was sort of just this, little child prodigy singer. And that's all I did. And then every single sibling in my family, all my siblings' children, everybody has the music gene, and it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's it's great because you guys all did your thing together, and then you branched off and did your thing for a little while until you got through graduating high school, right? And then you and your brother kind of made that decision to make that jump and go to Nashville. Am I right?
Yeah, my brother Matt and I were the ones that took it the most seriously. So he went out to Hollywood and attended and graduated from MIT, which was Musicians Institute of Technology, which is basically a jazz music school. So he studied bass then when he graduated from there, he moved back, and we saved $1,000 each, and we moved to Nashville, and eventually got my record deal with RCA, and the rest is history. And Matt has been my bass player and band leader for over 20 years, and he just came off the road this year, so that was kind of devastating to me.
Just kind of, take a rest, or just kind of
Well,
fully
they had a
retired, or what?
surprise baby. They had a surprise baby.
Well, good.
And
Mazel tov. There you go.
Yes, oh my God, she's amazing. But he just didn't want to be away from her that much. And so he said, I think it's time for me to come off the road and stay home. And, a surprise baby means that, he's an older dad. And so he didn't want to miss a minute with his daughters.
I don't blame him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with my daughter too. I just, it's fleeting. It goes by so fast. Yeah.
It really, really does. But all three of my kids, are kind of with me at all times. And so I'm really lucky because I haven't felt the sting of them leaving yet.
Now, as we're talking today, are you on the road, or are you at home in Nashville today? Where are you guys get a rest, or are you moving?
I am home today.
Oh, good deal.
And we are actually going to Mexico next week, and we have a show in Cabo, and so we're just going to take a few extra days and lay on the beach.
Heck yeah,
that kind of deal, and then we get really, really busy.
Heck yeah, that's a little family vacay, doesn't hurt. It helps the mind, body, and spirit. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely, and it also helps the suntan.
Yeah,
which I'm looking forward to.
I don't know. I never had that problem. I got that farmer's tan thing. It's yeah. Like I said, radio face, you just kind of block it out.
Radio face, farmer's tan. What more do you need?
Amen. Right. So, I wanted to ask you, and I always ask the others that I've interviewed too. Now, when you brought up your when you got through, what is it, 96, 97, you got your first recording contract. What did you, when you got that call, when you got that notification, what went through your head, or what did you do to commemorate that special event?
Well, I actually went to RCA Records and I sang for Joe Galante, who is the president. And I sang 3 songs for him in his office. And we left and he said, thanks so much. I'll get back to you. By the time we got back to my manager's house, there was a message on her answering machine from him. And it said, this is Joe Galante. I would like to offer Sara a 7-album record deal. And call me back when you get this message. So we all just practically fainted and screamed, and we may or may not have, drank some wine that night.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's a celebration.
one of the best days of my life, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And it just, and like you said, not looking back, and long story short, to this day, you kept plugging away, and throughout your career, and I talked to you about this before we started recording here. You've worked so incredibly hard, and I feel like you was trying to keep your product and keep your name and voice out there in the country scene. Now, from where you were working through the country music scene, there was enough of a female influence. And now, kind of from the outside looking back in, how has country music changed in your eyes?
I think, it's become, for the past 10 years or so, it's become very narrow in the sense that, we had all the bro country stuff. And even though it is changing a little bit now, I think there's still so much bro country that's in the, recurrent playlist that you still are hearing 90% men, 10% women. And I have nothing against men. I love men. I have a son. But I still think that there's so much great music and so much more lyrical content that women have to offer in country music. Like, where would we be if we didn't have Loretta Lynn or Patsy Cline or Reba McEntire?
Amen.
So we need to be establishing more female artists. And then we also need to be establishing country artists in general, instead of just throwing these songs out and letting people have 1 or 2 hits and then putting them out there on the road. I think it's just kind of gotten a little bit crazy. I think we need to always remember that it's about the music. And, what we've been doing is sort of taking the same 100 words and kind of stirring them up and throwing them back out and writing a new song, but they're all essentially saying a lot of the same thing. And that's why I love artists like Morgan Wallen, who has just made an amazing album, and, singing songs like 7 Summers Ago, where it's not just talking about beer and tight jeans and trucks. And again, I do think there's some progress being made, but it's not fast enough for me.
Yeah. Do you see, with Olivia coming into the picture and growing into her career as her own, in her music style, is there something where she's learned from you, but have you learned anything from her in her short time coming up through?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely grew up in the business. She saw every single thing, that's happened in my career, at least since 2003 when she was born. And she's a very, very, very hard worker. She's incredibly determined. She doesn't like taking no for an answer. And I've enjoyed watching her develop as an artist. And she and Avery have actually been writing a lot of songs recently that sound more like 2000s country than it does even some of her pop stuff. And so that just sort of brings joy to my heart, because it makes me feel like they're influenced from what is just naturally in them from growing up on the road with me and hearing my music. And so I hear a lot of that influence, but I'm excited to watch her become whoever she's going to become. And she's not limited to any genre or any style or anything like that. She can truly sing anything, and she's determined. So, and same thing with my son as a writer and a producer and a guitar player. It's really, really exciting. And then my 17-year-old daughter, just, she is musical, but I don't think she wants to go into music. She's more like fashion, and I think she's more of an influencer type.
Well,
So
nothing
we
wrong
all
with that. So
yeah, it's really fun.
it's got kind of a mix of everything together. That's what makes your family so special. I mean, you guys can come together and create something magical. I know you guys did a little bit with some couple of recordings and whatnot, but it's just so good how you guys can all branch off and grow and evolve, from where you're at in your lives. So that's always great to hear.
Thank you. It is really fun. I mean, we share the common love of music, and but I just love watching them grow, and I try to advise and steer them in the way that I think they should go. But at the same time, the industry is so different than it was when I got signed. Now everybody just wants to see your social media numbers, and so that's something that they have to accept and deal with. Like we have to have a huge TikTok following in order for a record label to want to sign us. And that's weird, but it is just the way it is.
Talking with Sara Evans. Of course, she's headlining this year's Milligan June Jubilee celebration. Alongside Wade Hayes will be opening up for her Friday, June 10th. Make sure and get your tickets now at MidwestTix.com. That's MidwestTix.com. And speaking of social media influence, I have been becoming a big fan of you and Olivia's Closet Chaos, Sara.
Oh, thank you.
I've watched quite a few episodes, and just seeing that personality come out of not only Olivia but yourself, very relaxed, very just having fun and enjoying life. And I learned a couple of things. One, that New Jersey Housewives must be a must see. And,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I will warn you that there are like 11 seasons, so you really got to commit yourself to it, but it's worth it.
that's you've been very, very passionate about that, in the talks throughout the shows. But and also I've noticed too that simplicity is best, and how you guys established yourself at the beginnings are, with the closet and talking with some big acts. I got to admit,
Yes.
very surprised and interested, and I was kind of going through and just kind of seeing the degree. It's not just country. You had kind of had a whole mix of everybody that you've
Oh
called in
yeah.
over your time.
I mean, I really just kind of was sitting here one day during the lockdown, and I was depressed and bored, and I was watching my uh would be money just sort of blow out the window because the tours were all canceled. And I was like, I've got to do something to stay in touch with the fans, and also for myself to keep, you know, to feel like I'm still working and doing something and giving the fans something. So I said, um, we have pulled off all of our wardrobe from the tour buses because we no longer needed them. And I had all these racks of clothes in this dressing room in my house. And so I just said to Olivia, we should go live on Instagram tonight and just tell people that we just want to talk. We have nothing to update them on. We have nothing smart to say. We just want attention because we're bored. And that's how the whole thing started. And I said, let's call it Closet Chaos. And we'll sit in the closet and we'll show people the wardrobe that we're not using right now. And so that's how the whole thing started. And then I was texting Martina and I said, will you go live with us Monday night? And she was like, yeah, sure. And so she was our very first guest. And since then it has just really exploded. And we've got big plans for Closet Chaos. So just stay tuned.
Wow. And of course, by the way, what is it? Mondays at 7, right? On Instagram
Yeah.
Live. There you go.
Mondays at
So
7 Central. And we have a big star guest on every week. This week we have Patricia Heaton on Monday night from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Heck yeah. That'll be intriguing. I'll have to tune in for that. Make sure you guys tune in as well. And I want to ask you who's been your favorite so far that you've interviewed, and who's really surprised you more during the interview type of deal?
One of my favorite interviews of all of the past 2 years has been Kix Brooks. He was in rare form and he was hilarious, and he just talked a lot. He didn't give us the feeling that, he wanted to get off the air. Like, he was just there. And also, let's see, talking to Clint Black was really fun. Martina was great. They've all just been wonderful, really. And then I've also done a few friends and family because I think that the fans are also interested in meeting some people in my life and hearing their opinion and viewpoint of me through their eyes, knowing me personally. Some of those guests have also gotten great responses. So it's a blast.
Yeah, and it keeps growing. I know you guys try to go on with StreamYard and whatnot. It was very funny how you guys were you and Olivia are trying to figure things out, and
Yeah, that was a disaster.
But it was that's genuine. That's straight to the heart. I mean, that's original. And everybody enjoyed it. I know I did. So
I just feel
I'm
sorry
gonna be.
for Marcus Hummon, who was our guest that night, but we'll have him on again.
There you go. Well, that's all right. No, I'm it's starting to become an avid fan. So no, it's
Thank
been
you.
always good watching you guys grow, and of course you growing as well. Coming around with the pandemic, you did release an album which I really enjoy. It is which, by the way, audience, the album copy that is in stores now. Make sure and grab a copy. This album, and I'm assuming we're going to probably hear some of the tracks, maybe some kind of teaser there at Jubilee, but you have 13 tracks, and it's a whole variety of music genres and hits. And
yeah, I've never made a covers album before. I always put a cover song on each record, but never an entire album. And growing up on stage doing the bar shows and wedding dances and all that, I was in a covers band my entire life, and we had to learn every popular song in a lot of different genres. And so, yes, Copy That is my first and only covers album. please get it because it really got overlooked because it was released during the pandemic. And I'm so, so proud of it. And another point of interest is that my son plays almost all the guitar parts on the album.
Nice.
Olivia's singing all the harmony with me. And it's great. We've got songs that people would never imagine that I would sing.
What was your favorite song that you from your album that you would say that was just spot on? That was awesome.
Definitely Come On Eileen.
Ah, good one. Yes.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite songs. And then we did She's Got You by Patsy Cline. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. We did Monday Morning by Fleetwood Mac. We did My Sharona by the Knack. And many more. So check it out.
I think you only did like 3 country song hits. Everything else is just a whole variety of different genres and whatnot. So
yeah, because I hate
cool.
when people think that I can only sing country music. Yeah. I'm just like, that doesn't even make sense. I'm a singer and I can sing anything. So that's Amen. What I wanted to show people.
Amen. Your voice, yeah, you haven't skipped a beat, girl. And I just, like
Thank
I said,
you.
Like you know what, I think an unwritten melody is probably best described because you're still continuously evolving and kudos to you. I mean,
Thank you.
The amount of work you're putting into it and still keeping the family going strong. That's all that matters. So, and that's just,
thank you.
I just want to pick your brain so bad because there's so much we could talk to, but I know your time's precious as well. And you got to get on the road, but I hope we can cross paths again and talk again in the future. Cause I think your story is just interesting, and I just really
thank you.
Yeah. And
anytime. I'd love to talk to you anytime.
Well, you know, like I said, you always have an invite with me, and hopefully the vice versa. But you know, I can't wait to see you coming out to Milligan and having a great time, and you know, having a town like that, a town celebration, having you come in and it's going to be great. What for anybody who hasn't experienced Sara Evans live on stage, what to expect?
It's a great show. You know, I always brag and say, and I mean, it's the truth. I have one of the best bands in country music. I am super particular about my musicians. And so the shows are absolutely amazing from a musicianship standpoint. And then we do almost all of the hits and some of the new stuff from the covers record, which are also hits because they're covers. It's just really, really fun. And my daughter Olivia is singing harmony with me, and she's up there with another girl named Jazz Davis, and they're beautiful. And I don't know why I subject myself to standing next to 2 20-year-old bitches, but I do. Because they sound so amazing.
You know, that's just a whole degree of trust. That's what makes your finished product that much more special, and it helps out because you're giving back to, of course, Olivia and them and making them grow, and kudos to you. And I can't wait to see you and get to pick your brain and shoot the breeze, as they say, and it's going to be an awesome show.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well,
can't wait to see you guys.
I can't wait to see you too, of course. You know, like I said, we can't wait to find out more. If you want to listen more to Olivia and Sara, it's Closet Chaos, Instagram Live, Mondays at 7. The album, copy that, in stores now. And see, we didn't even get a chance to talk about your memoir, Born to Fly memoir, also in stores now. You'll be able to get the full story of Sara from start to now. And of course, come see her live at this year's Milligan June Jubilee. Sara Evans, my friend, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.